This is 451. I'm Marcus Speller, and Ian Wright is not here. We have instead the Charlton Athletic, Bournemouth and Ipswich Town and Republic of Ireland legend Matt Holland.
I like that word, legend. Yeah. That's nice. Not sure I'm a legend at all the clubs.
Shake my hand.
Nice
Matt.
to see you.
And now we can begin. Coming up, Newcastle fans are getting nervous. Are QPR the new Portsmouth? And the London managerial merry-go-round. But we're going to start with Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale, he's just won PFA Young Player and Players Player of the Year.
Got my vote.
Did he?
Got my vote. Well, not that I get a vote anymore.
Yeah.
I'm well retired, but yeah.
This is an announcement.
He would have got my vote.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
His star is shining very, very brightly. AVB has been assured by the board that if they can qualify for the Champions League, they will definitely keep him.
Yeah, I mean, it's all right the board's saying that.
Yeah. But do they need to keep him? I mean, how vital is he for
Crikey,
Spurs?
they need to keep him because he's their main man. He's the main man in the Premier League at the moment.
Yeah.
Will they keep him? I don't know. I mean, listen, the board can say all they like, but if the player wants to go, and if he's attracted by Champions League football, which he potentially could be, if Spurs don't make it, then he could well be on his way.
But if you were Gareth Bale, you watch the Champions League surely, and it's been fantastic this season. He must want a piece of that. He must look at the Ronaldos and the Messis of this world and think, that's what I want to do.
Well, I think people are putting him in that category. They put him in the Messi category. They put him in the Ronaldo category. Yeah. They put him on that pedestal now. And the performances he's made, certainly the second half of the season, have been absolutely outstanding. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, if I was Gareth Bale and Spurs don't make the top four, then I think I'd want to be going, yeah.
Right. And if you look at, say, Pep Guardiola going to Bayern Munich, rumours that he might be getting rid of Arjen Robben, there could be a space for a dynamic left-sided player. Will
Bayern Munich pay that money though? That's the question. I think that when you look around Europe and who potentially might pay that big dough, Real Madrid might do that. Will Barcelona? I'm not sure. Bayern Munich? I'm not sure. I think they've made their big signing already with Goetze.
Sure, yeah.
Maybe Lewandowski going in there as well. Will they go for Gareth Bale? Maybe not.
But if you were Bale, then you would definitely go to a bigger club like that.
If I was Gareth Bale and Spurs don't make the top four, then yeah, I think I'd be looking to move, yeah.
Yeah. I kind of agree with this. It's a short career. I know Spurs fans will hate us for saying that, but I don't think Gareth Bale watches, so don't worry, it won't influence it. But I could totally see that. I understand.
I think people question it. You know, does he owe something to Spurs? You know, because Spurs gave him that opportunity. They spent the money on him as a young kid. He went there and he's developed his career at Spurs. So does he owe Spurs something? Well, look, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But it's a short career football. And if you get an opportunity to play at the biggest level, I think you've got to take it.
And it was Southampton, really, where
Southampton developed him as well. George Burley, I think it was, my old manager who gave him his debut, yeah.
Well, statistically, Matt, Gareth Bale has scored 19 goals this season, 7 goals outside the area, the highest in the English Premier League. Some absolute beauties. And he's 32 of Spurs' goals this season have come from Bale. He's created 68 chances for Spurs with 4 assists.
I think that's a surprising stat, actually, that he's only created four goals himself, 4 assists, because he is someone that does provide plenty of opportunities for his teammates.
You can blame Adebayor for that, maybe.
Yeah, he's only got 3 goals this season, I think. So 19 goals this season. What I like about Gareth Bale as well is that he scores all types of different goals.
Absolutely.
You mentioned there the goals outside the area, and he scored 7 of them, and some fantastic strikes along the way, but he scores all types of goals as well. He's the one player in the Premier League that really gets me excited and out of my chair, and someone who I really enjoy watching as well. But 32% of the goals he scored, 1 in 3 come from Gareth Bale.
That's incredible.
It's an incredible stat. I am surprised though that he has only assisted 4. And how would Spurs cope without him? And these are the stats with and without him this season. They've won 16, drawn 7 and lost 6 with him. And then without him, they've won 2, drawn 1 and lost 2.
Well, that speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Speaks volumes. They're certainly better with Gareth Bale, and who wouldn't be, that's for sure.
Indeed. Well, thanks to Squawka, our friends, for providing us with those stats. A couple of weeks ago, we said Newcastle were an outside bet for relegation. Now,
missed it, Meg. Missed it, Meg.
Well, I've been called worse. Now it's looking like they're right in amongst it with Aston Villa.
Yeah, Newcastle
are
right
they now contenders?
No, they're right in it. I mean, the only saving grace is that 2 teams already down, Reading and Queen's Park Rangers, and there's probably teams that are worse than them as well. But they're right in it. I mean, particularly the last 2 home games, losing 3-0 to your local rivals, and then massively against Liverpool 6-0. They're amongst it.
And that swing. I mean,
the goal difference.
The goal difference with Aston Villa. that's almost like another point when you get to this stage of the season. Nobody could have seen an 11-goal swing, and now I think Villa are actually better placed goal difference. I think they maybe scored more goals or something.
Yeah.
6-0 at home to lost to Liverpool. The heaviest defeat in 87 years at home, something like that.
Do you know, for me, it wasn't so much the shipping of 6 goals. I mean, that can happen. It was more the attitude of the players, the body language of the players. When I'm looking at them, you know, they were giving the ball away in midfield and walking back. There was no passion, there was no fight, no desire. And Newcastle fans demand that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, I played with Alan Pardew. He demands that, and he'd have been furious, absolutely furious in that dressing room with his team.
Well, what's it like, you know, in a relegation battle, and if you're going into it and other teams look as though they are beginning to show a bit of form? Well, Aston Villa certainly have there, and Sunderland, okay.
And Wigan have got a reputation of getting themselves out. I think they won 5 of the last 6.
What is the mindset at the moment for those Newcastle?
Well, I think for Newcastle, I mean, in January they needed the signings.
Yeah.
There's a few teams actually. I mean, look at Stoke as well. At Christmas, they felt, oh, we're safe. We're done and dusted. Our season's over. And then they had a horrendous second half season. They picked up a couple of wins and probably safe. Newcastle lacking massively in confidence at the moment. You can tell that. I mean,
it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because if I was a Newcastle player, I'd be thinking, hang on a minute, I thought we were safe. And now they're in a real fight, and they've got to go away to West Ham. And Big Sam Allardyce will have his players, Kevin Nolan and Andy Carroll, pumped up for that, surely.
Big Sam will be desperate. He'll be desperate. I'm telling you, to turn Newcastle over. Yeah. He'll have had them in already. Kevin Nolan and Andy Carroll. He'd have been saying to them, listen,
here we go, boys.
Here we go, boys. Let's really turn these over after what his experiences at the club. So that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Look, I've got their fixtures here. West Ham away, you mentioned. Yeah. Queen's Park Rangers away. They're already relegated.
Well, that could be the ace up there.
Maybe they're thinking that's our 3 points, because that's probably what they need. One more win. Arsenal at home. Home form, losing the last 2, shipping 9 goals, scoring none.
And Arsenal probably battling for a Champions League.
Arsenal probably need to win that. Well, they need to win that probably going into that last game.
So all the pressure could be on that QPR game. Yeah. With an enormous amount of pressure, especially away from home. You know, Harry Redknapp's not going to just lay over.
Well, pressure on the players and pressure on the manager as well. I mean, there's talk about Alan Pardew and his position becoming under threat now as well.
Despite the 8-year contract.
Well, 8-year contract. Honestly, I mean, it's not worth the paper it's written on.
Right.
I mean,
okay.
Look, it was a message to the fans that 8-year contract, no question about that. And you know, for me, there'll be clauses in that contract that say if he gets sacked, he might get 6 months' money or whatever it might be. So, but there's real pressure on him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Newcastle fans, we wish you all the best in your relegation running.
Yes, good luck, Pards. Okay, it is Twitter time, and we asked if you could change one thing about your club, what would it be? And this is what you said.
Well, at K Debs Keith is gone straight in with get rid of Nani.
Do you know what? I mean, I'm a secret Man United. Well, I'll say
you're
secret.
not anymore.
Everyone knows. Everyone knows. I'm a Man United fan, and actually, do you know what? I'm with him. I probably would. I think he's flattered to deceive for me.
Not for that 1 game a season that he produces.
It's not enough for me.
Okay.
I think you need to be a bit more consistent than that.
Yeah.
Wilmot 86. Not the team, but to teach Cisse the offside rule. I'm guessing that's a Newcastle fan.
Yeah.
Papis Cisse. Offside rule, yeah. So.
Well, he scores a few goals, so maybe that's the key to his success. He's always gambling.
He is.
Good striker.
Yeah. Darren Bent was like that when I played with him. Always on the shoulder of the last man.
And he did pretty well.
He's got plenty of goals in the Premier League. He's done okay.
Hopefully some more as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was a bit surprised actually that he hasn't played more this season, you know. Yeah. But Benteke has proved a revelation, hasn't he?
Can't argue with that. At Tipping Load says, the manager, we need a trophy. He's an Arsenal fan.
Funny that. Was he now 7 or 8 years yet?
Yeah.
Well, maybe he might get his wish, you never know.
Indeed.
Stephen Dakin 9 says, make the Majeski Stadium more intimidating for visiting players and fans. I think it's a little bit late for that, I'm afraid.
Well, we asked for a change, not a miracle.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Indeed. If you've got any more tweets, then do tweet us at ball_street or comment below. Lots of rumours are flying around London at the minute with regards to managerial merry-go-rounds. Arsene Wenger, is he going to be moving from Arsenal to PSG? And Mourinho, could he be back at Chelsea?
Well, Chelsea one's the interesting one, I think, because they're definitely going to be getting a new manager in the summer. You know, Rafa Benitez says short-term contract, he's going to go. The fans don't want him, and he's going to be out. Wenger, I mean, I can't see him leaving this summer. I mean, he's never been one to break a contract. He's always said that. He's got a year left on that contract as well. So I don't see him leaving this summer. Maybe next year. I think he'll have a bit of a war chest to spend in the summer as well, if I'm honest. I think that, you know, they've got a bit of money, Arsenal, and he'll be looking to bring a few in, and he'll be looking, saying, what, 3 or 4 additions we might be pushing for a championship position.
Always pleasing to hear the term war chest as well.
War chest, good word, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah. I think if you look at Arsene Wenger, to PSG, vastly different situation to Arsenal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like, I'm done with the youth. Let's just give me some money and some big names. You know, would Wenger really do that? He's a very, very well, you could say
back to France.
Well, true, but he's a very sort of stubborn man.
Yeah.
And his ethic is very much bring the youth through. It would be a very big shift going to PSG.
It would. I think he's always had a reluctance almost to spend money as well, hasn't he? I mean, it's almost like it's his own money.
And that's the name of the game at PSG.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the money to spend. They've brought in some big players. They've got obviously some big names there as well. I think in the coming years, though, this is a team, PSG, that can be challenging for the Champions League. I mean, they were very unlucky against Barcelona this year. Maybe next year. I don't see it happening this summer. It
would be quite nice though if Wenger went to PSG, Ancelotti went to Madrid, and against the odds Mourinho then went to Arsenal. That would be there's your merry-go-round. Perfectly there. But Mourinho though, what he said after the Madrid game, in that very short interview that was unfortunately cut off, he hinted that he wanted to be somewhere where he's loved. We all know he's loved in England, in particular at Chelsea. Sure, and he's always said he's had unfinished business at Chelsea.
I think Mourinho at the moment is touting himself about.
He is. That's very unlike him.
And for a job in England. And like you say, he did say that he's loved by a particular team in England, and that is Chelsea. And I'm sure that Chelsea fans would love to have him back. He had such great success the first time around.
Yeah. And he wants the
problem is the ego for me. Abramovich and Mourinho, I mean, they clashed once before. Whether Abramovich will take that risk and bring him back again, I don't know. I mean, but the Chelsea fans are certainly asking for him.
Absolutely. But what about Arsenal? If Wenger was to go, who would you see coming in? In Germany, there's talks of Jogi Löw, the current national team boss, going there. David Moyes has been touted before. Who would you fancy?
Crikey. I mean, I think Joachim Löw. I think he'd be someone that would do a good job there. Do you know the other one that's quite interesting as well, who hasn't really been given too much of a mention at Arsenal? He's a former player of theirs, Dennis Bergkamp.
Yes, that would be great.
He's number 2, I think, at Ajax at the moment. So he's someone that maybe that Arsenal might look at, although it is a risk because he's not managed before.
Maybe that's where Wrighty is today. He's in negotiations to be Bergkamp's number 2 at Arsenal.
Or maybe he's just taken over as number 1. Yeah. Maybe he's just taken. Maybe he's just taken the job. Who knows?
We might have broke the story.
You heard it here first. Wrighty, next year's manager at Arsenal.
Indeed. Well, we shall see what happens in London during the summer.
Okay, well, we already know the identity of 2 of the teams relegated from the Premier League, Queen's Park Rangers and Reading. Both very different situations, though. QPR look as though they could be in a financial mess by going down. Reading look as though they've done it in a more pragmatic way, not spent a great deal of money this year. Are QPR the new Portsmouth? That's what we're asking today.
I hope not. I mean, in terms of Harry Redknapp looking as though he's going to go through their money like water, they could be. But I think Tony Fernandes has got a very big job on his hands with regards to going through the books there. And Redknapp, if indeed he stays, the manager, whoever it is in charge, they need to get a lot of players off those books. I mean, Loic Remy and Samba. The unbelievable statistic there is if they both stay and see out their contract, it will cost the club £80 million.
That's incredible.
That is absolutely insane.
It is insane.
He's
got a massive job.
He's got a huge job.
I mean, the people often talk about the money that you get for going down, the parachute payments and stuff, and that it makes such a big difference, and it's not a level playing field in the Championship. But actually, there's only one of the last 9 teams that have been relegated that come straight back up. There's no guarantee that just because you're relegated, you've got all your top players, that you're going to come straight back up again. I think, when you look last season, the teams that went down, Wolves, struggling, could go down again.
Exactly.
Bolton, I suppose, are the exception because now they've had a good second half of the season. They've got themselves into the playoffs. Blackburn, financially in a right mess, gone through managers. They're struggling as well. The best players, when you get relegated, get taken. That's the bottom line. The good ones who can play in the Premier League have gone. Wolves last year, Matt Jarvis, Stephen Fletcher, they take the meat off the bones and they're gone back into the Premier League again. And QPR are going to be in the same boat for me. I mean, they're going to lose. Well, Remy will go without question because there's Premier League clubs will take him. The rest, it's going to be difficult for them. They're on good contracts, good money, and for a manager to try and get rid of them, it's not that easy.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I mean, we spoke about Reading before. That they didn't sign many players when they went up to the Premier League, and it was people were thinking you're never going to survive. But perhaps Reading, they seem to have a solid sort of foundation. They've gone up and they think, right, well, we'll have a go. But if not, we go down. We've got the parachute payments, and we'll keep that squad together, and we will build strongly. And like you said of West Brom before, then they can go up, and then they can.
They've followed that model.
Yeah.
Reading have gone down the route of, look, we'll get promoted. We'll perhaps not spend too much money. If we go down, we'll take the parachute money. We've got players who are capable of playing the Championship. We've got promoted from that division before, and we'll try and come straight back up again. And I think that's the way they've done it. To be honest, if I'm honest, I think in January they missed a trick. I mean, I think they went out and signed Blackman from Sheffield United, Akpan from Crawley, 2 players from League One. Yeah. They're not, with all due respect, going to keep you in the Premier League. They needed to spend more money. I think when you look at the 2 clubs, QPR and Reading, you're almost looking at 2 completely different situations. Absolutely. Somewhere in the middle would have perhaps been the answer.
Yeah, indeed. Well, we shall see Reading or QPR how they get on in the Championship next season.